So now I'm going to discuss question 4 of my evaluation section, where I feel that I've used digital technology for the research, planning, construction and evaluation section coherently. So first of all, for my research section, Fronter is an online server that allowed me to lay out all my findings in an organised manner. So I used Fronter to present my coursework in 4 different sections, and on Fronter it allowed me to create different moving images of pictures to display different types of iconic movies that just set up my Fronter page really nicely. So for the first section, which is research, which I laid out in Fronter, I created an STA section, which is similar text analysis, where I was able to observe and look at different movie trailers, first of all starting by general trailers such as teen dramas, and then I went on to talking about my own genre of a trailer, which was thriller. So when I was looking at my ancillary task and looking at film posters and magazines online, using Google as my server, I was able to express my initial opinion and ideas on this by using a sound clip. So this was my first kind of digital technology used during my coursework, and the sound clip allowed me, rather than to just write everything down and to be able to edit what I write, I just looked at one of the film posters, which was from Jennifer's Body, the movie, that's what it was advertising, which supported my genre because that is a teen thriller. I was just able to express how I felt straight away. Fronter allowed me to create an online voting poll, which I created 10 different questions, which were closed questions, so yes or no questions, where I asked different people from my target audience, which would be 16 and above, to go online to my Fronter page, check out my voting poll, and then vote for what they prefer. So for example, I asked a question like, would you prefer chart music in my trailer in the background, or unknown music, or classical music, and then I was able to see as it comes up in percentage that the most popular would be chart music in the background, because this is what everyone would be familiar to. I then used, to take this further, I wanted to face-to-face talk to my target audience so I'd get a more personal response for them. So I was able to use a DSLR camera to record a group interview where we asked 2 females 10 questions, rather than an interview, it was more like a group discussion where they openly told us how they felt, how we could improve or make trailers better than what they already are. So moving on, when talking about how I use digital technology in my planning section, I formed a storyboard during this section which presented 10 main points in my trailer. For this, I used the camera Lumix GH2 to capture still images of different points in my trailer, which I then uploaded to Photoshop and used the hue setting to change the images to sort of a blue filter, which already started to give it a thriller effect. So me and the people in my group knew the kind of base that we were going for and that we might be able to use this effect in our actual trailer. Or when discussing initial ideas, I decided to call my initial idea The Substitute, which was a title that I came up with after I'd formed my narrative before we came to a final decision. To make this title, I used Photoshop to present a title and then an image, but from the fonts on Photoshop, I didn't really like them, so I used the internet to go onto dafont.com, where I was able to have a variety of different fonts that I could download and then upload to Photoshop, which allowed me to have a different sort of font that wouldn't be available on Photoshop to use. I then got an image of Google of a man in a shadow, which supported, I went for The Substitute because I wanted to be like there was something different in place. So I got an image of a shadow of a man off Google, and I took this to Photoshop and edited it by using a less opacity and making it a white image, and I used the magic wand tool to cut out any unwanted bits. I was able to put this image behind my text but on the background, which made it come out really nice against the red colours that I used in my font. I also was able to warp the image, so I created a shadow as well, which was on white against the black background, so I thought that came out really nice. As a group, after having a discussion about our final narrative, I summed it up by doing a video recording, which I was able to use digital technology of YouTube and upload it on there. And when I did that, I felt that rather than typing out a whole story and it to become really tedious for someone to read, by using YouTube, was able to, me and my group were able to visualize the image as I spoke it, because when you are passionate about something and you talk about something with expression, you know how you want it to turn out and how it's going to feel. So I felt recording it on YouTube was much better. Then when planning my final drafts for my ancillary task, I used Voki. So when talking about my magazine poster and front cover, I wanted to show, rather than typing up what each thing, example like a masthead or a pug or an image, what they mean and what I'm going to show, I used different characters on Voki to talk to my examiner, to my viewer, about how I'm going to be expressing these different things in colours when I actually come to designing my film poster or magazine. Then during my construction section, I used a Lumix GH2 to record all the footage for the trailer. There were different aspects changed from what we originally wrote in the planning section to then what we ended up doing in the construction section. For example, we decided that for the final scene we wanted to end the trailer by having the protagonist Mark in a mirror while Ashley was standing there, so we wanted to have two characters in a mirror. But then when it actually came to doing this, we found that it would be quite difficult to film because you get the mirror and the camera in the mirror in the background. So we decided that another way, but which would still be like a controversial ending, leaving on a cliffhanger, would be to put Ashley in the boot of a car, so it kind of ends on a cliffhanger that you don't know what Mark's done with her after he's kidnapped her. But that's all to be seen in my trailer. By using a camera, which is digital technology, allowed me to capture different angles, images, and using a tripod, you could put the camera and the video camera on a tripod and tilt the camera so you were able to like zoom in, zoom out, get different angles from high and low. So by using digital technology gave me a much more bigger variety. In my editing in the construction, I used Photoshop to edit my magazine and poster. While doing my poster, I used different things like the Magic Wand tool and the blur effect, and I used the rubber when I found logos that would be able to support my trailer. So different logos, for example, like motion pictures or canary. For example, when I wanted to advertise that we were available on Facebook and Twitter to follow as a company, I had to edit out the logo so it looked more presentable on the poster rather than it being out of place. I used Photoshop as a group to edit and create the billboard for the end of the trailer when putting everything together on Final Cut, and I felt that this was much better because it allowed like line spacing and tracking in the typography section, where we were able to make sure that everything was correct sizes and lines, so it all fitted and it made it look more professional. Final Cut was our main source of editing in the trailer. Initially I didn't know how to use it, so I started off by watching YouTube tutorials to teach myself how to edit things, how to obtain, import, export things from a USB. We used the letterbox tool on most scenes in the trailer because I felt it captured our sense of thriller genre more, because it made it feel more tight and the audience are always at unease just from watching the trailer. So we thought this would be quite a good selling point to make them want to watch the actual movie. The whole basis of our storyline is that the protagonist Mark, he's a photographer. So by using the SLR effect, we were able to put this on different scenes so it looked as if it was Mark filming from his camera throughout the whole trailer, which gave a really edgy effect. Mentioned in our storyboard, we used the hue to create a blue saturation, so we also added this to our trailer and added a blue filter on every single scene, and we also color corrected loads of scenes so they all matched up. This was our main source, which we mimicked from one of the trailers we watched in our similar text analysis question during research, which was The Roommate. We felt that our ideas of trying to copy the effects and the way this was filmed really came out when we were able to use the different filters on Final Cut. We also used the GoPro camera to do filming, which gave us a lot of advantage because by using a waterproof case on the GoPro, you are able to film underwater, which is exactly what we did. By capturing things underwater, you have the wide angle, it's a fisheye angle, which makes the audience feel as if they are there, they're more involved. And from their perspective, it makes them feel like they are part of the action. So it comes across as more more opening to all the audience and as if they are spying on Ashley. For example, one of the scenes we used the GoPro in the bathroom. So sometimes we used it without the waterproof cave because we didn't need to film underwater. So when we did a shot of filming the whole bathroom on a pan, the use of digital technology allowed it to feel like Mark, the protagonist, was in the bathroom the whole time because of the fisheye lens. So this really helps support our thriller genre. For my evaluation section for this question 4, I'm using a green screen, which would have been behind the film poster behind me. This will enable me to put an image by keying out the backdrop on Final Cut when it comes to editing and then placing the image of my poster in the background.